Assalamu alaikum. My name is Abdul Karim Akhtan. Here are the headlines. Saudi talks with Houthi rebels and Turkish elections. But first, let me say that I am completely sad about the war in Sudan, and that's why we have decided to make a report about the war in Sudan.
يتم الحديث ربما عن إمكان
Unfortunately, a war has begun in Sudan. The war began on Saturday, 15 April. A militiaman attacked Khartoum airport with a bazooka and crashed into a Saudi plane. But where does the history of this war really lie? In 1989, the young Colonel Omar al-Bashir seized power.
أيها الشعب السوداني الكريم، وتحركت قواتكم المسلحة اليوم لإنقاذ بلادنا العزيزة من أيدي الخونة والمفسدين، لا طمعا في مكاسب السلطة بل تلبية لإنجاء الواجب والوطن.
But soon the young colonel turned into a classic dictator, imprisoning his old Muslim allies. He put the real power in charge of the army of Sudan, and all opposition noises are turned off. It was a man who only wants war and chaos. But when a war broke out in the west between African and Arab tribes, al-Bashir supported the Arabs. The Janjaweed, the Arab militia, murdered, tortured and raped the people. In 2009, al-Bashir was issued an arrest warrant by the International Straf Court in The Hague. In 2011, after long fighting, the south of Sudan became independent and al-Bashir lost his access to important oil fields. This was the beginning of economic decline. Al-Bashir does not want to leave power because his power is more important than the national interests, until his allies let him fall and overthrow him. But when that happened, Abdel Fattah al-Burhan declared himself the leader of Sudan. But after the so-called Khartoum massacre...
Live now to the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. That is the scene.
People got really angry, and on 21 August 2019, there was a transitional federal government in place with Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok and interim President Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. It was only after 2 years in October 2021 that al-Burhan seized power through a classic coup. One of those persons who helped with the coup was Hemeti. It was not until 15 April that Hemeti and his Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, militia decided to seize power. Many Sudanese sees Hemeti and his RSF as a descendant of the Janjaweed, the Arab militia responsible for the Darfur genocide. The two sides have agreed to fire a ceasefire, but they have not been observed. Now a civil war is broken out where both sides are accused of war crimes against humanity by the human rights group, especially the RSF, or the Rapid Support Forces. It doesn't look like a war will end this year. Millions of Sudanese have fled the country to neighboring countries including Somalia, Somaliland, Djibouti, Eritrea and Ethiopia. Abdul Karim Dallo News. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud appoints special envoy for Somaliland. And a new Somali series called Arday or Students is out. It was big news when Saudi Arabia held talks with the Houthi rebels in Yemen. The Houthi rebels were from the Shia Muslim group and were supported by Saudi Arabia's arch-enemy Iran. But after the historical talks between Saudi and Iranian foreign ministers, Saudi Arabia decided to talk with the Houthi rebels. to stop the most devastating war in the world in Yemen for the last 8 years. Turkey, or Turkey, is holding parliamentary and presidential elections next month. Turkish strongman Recep Tayyip Erdogan is facing an opposition from leader Kemal from the CHP opposition group. Next month, more on Dallo Productions. US President Mohammed bin Zayed gives his son the Crown Prince title. Fighting in Al-Aqsa Mosque in West Jerusalem in Palestine. And Joe Biden announced his US presidential candidate for the second time. And this was Dallo News for this month. Next month we'll be back for sure. Bye!
Freedom, personal freedom, is fundamental to who we are as Americans.
There's nothing more important, nothing more sacred.
That's been the work of my first term, to fight for our democracy.
This shouldn't be a red or blue issue.
To protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally and that everyone is given a fair shot at making it. But you know, around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting taxes for the very wealthy, dictating what healthcare decisions women can make, banning books, and telling people who they can love, all while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote. When I ran for president 4 years ago, I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are. The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom, more rights or fewer. I know what I want the answer to be, and I think you do too. This is not a time to be complacent.